Hello everyone, welcome to my Emmerdale channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. The sun dipped behind the Yorkshire hills as a late spring chill swept through Emmerdale, brushing against the rooftops like a warning. It was the kind of evening that made the birds fall quiet, the kind that made even the bravest villagers lock their doors a little earlier. And at the center of it all was April Windsor, hopeful, stubborn, and about to step straight into the darkest week the village had seen in years. April had felt watched for days. It started with the shadows, quick glances of movement behind shop windows or at the edge of Main Street. Then came the notes, little scraps slipped beneath the door at tall trees. You don't know the truth. Your dad can't save you. This ends soon. At first, she'd hidden them, not wanting to worry Marlin or Rhona, but by midweek the quiet threat in those messages had begun to grow claws. It all traced back to one name, Brent Callan, a ghost from Rhona's past. And now, April's nightmare made flesh. No one in the village realized Brent had been released early. No one knew he'd been living out of an abandoned barn on the outskirts, feeding his obsession, replaying old grudges, and convincing himself that Emmerdale owed him a debt he intended to collect in blood. April discovered the truth by accident, overhearing a tense conversation between Paddy and Rhona in the veterinary surgery. A name, a warning, and a single sentence that froze her heart. He blames us all, but April is the one he wants. That night, unable to bear the heavy silence of adults trying to protect her by keeping secrets, April slipped out into the cool dark, determined to end the fear herself. She'd tell Brent to leave them alone. She'd make him understand that she wasn't afraid. She should have been. The woods were deathly still as she walked toward the old barn, clutching nothing but her phone and a courage she didn't truly feel. The last thing she expected was for Brent to be waiting in the doorway, lit by the moon like a nightmare pulled from the shadows. "You came," he said, smiling with a calmness that chilled her. "Just like your mum would have." April's breath hitched. "You need to leave us alone," she whispered, voice shaking. "We've done nothing to you." "Oh, but you have," he said, stepping forward. "Your family took my life apart, and now I'm taking something from yours." Before she could run, he grabbed her, rough, desperate, furious, and the scream that tore from her throat shattered the calm of the woods. Back at the village, Marlin felt a sudden dread, a father's instinct. When he saw April's empty room, the half-opened window, he knew something was wrong, truly wrong. Panic launched him into the night with Rhona, Paddy, and a frantic Arthur in tow. The forest swallowed their shouts at first. But then another sound, a scream, April's scream. They ran. Inside the barn, Brent had cornered April against the wall, the glint of a rusted tool raised high. Her heartbeat thundered as she braced for the strike. "But stop!" Marlin's voice cracked through the air. Brent turned, wild-eyed, giving April the second she needed to dart out of his reach. Chaos erupted, Arthur tackling Brent's arm, Paddy pulling April to safety, Rhona shouting for help. Brent roared, swinging blindly, and the old floorboards splintered beneath him. With a deafening crack, he crashed through the rotten wood, disappearing into darkness. Silence, broken only by April's sobs as Marlin wrapped her in his arms. She lived, but she'd come closer to death than anyone in Emmerdale ever knew. Next week, the village would whisper about miracles and second chances, but April would never forget the feel of his grip, the cold of his breath, or the truth she'd learned. Even in the safest villages, shadows can still kill. And some ghosts Don't stay buried.